Hello and welcome to our coverage of Love is Blind. We are here to talk about the finale and the reunion. It's a wrap for season 8 of Love is Blind, and we're here to give all of our thoughts about everything that occurred here. Maybe the most exciting week of the drop, just because it's like there's some level of intrigue. But I'm not here alone. I'm Aysha. And I'm here with Mary Kwiatkowski. Mary, how are you?
I'm good. I'm Mary. I'm here. It's the finale, the reunion. I got a haircut for the occasion. I feel like people are always ending up come to the reunion and they're like, oh, look at this. Fresh cut, fresh colors. So I figured might as well hop on that train.
It looks good, because I was sitting here, I was like, did she have that haircut last week?
And I don't think so.
I didn't trust myself enough in this moment.
No, all good. That's just another little secret for the YouTube viewers.
Right. And then to round us out, we have a man who I know this is the top season ever for him. Jason Reed. Jason, how are you?
Aysha, good. I'm really kind of glad it's over. I mean, for many different reasons. But we're here. And listen, this wouldn't be a reunion podcast if I didn't call out the elephant in the room, right? I mean, Aysha, do you have something you wanted to say to Mary about like anything you and I may have talked about over text?
Oh,
You have anything you want
to? Did I have anything to say about anything that you and I have discussed over text?
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously you're not going to come out with it. I mean, Mary, I hate to tell you this, but Aysha, when we did the Fam Jam a couple episodes ago, Aysha, she has some things to say about your ocarina playing. Aysha, you sure you don't want to admit to anything before?
Listen, Mary wasn't even a part of the conversation until you brought her up in the text. I didn't bring Mary up in the text.
Really?
Yes.
Why is my name even brought up at all?
Okay,
it's the real question.
Aysha, same question I have, Mary. Same question I have.
I didn't want to do this. I did not want to do this, but I will. Okay.
It was in his
have screenshots in my armpits. Okay. Mind the stains. They were in my armpit for a while. Okay.
The pen is bleeding.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Aysha, nice screenshots.
Aysha, to me, what did you think of Mary's Fam Jam performance? Okay. Zoom in on that.
Yeah.
Me, I thought it was great. Why? You didn't like it? Aysha. No way. It was awful.
Wow.
Who taught her how to play the ocarina?
Brutal.
It was so unlit, bruh. 3 laughy face emojis right here. You see that?
That's absolutely absurd. What do I look like saying, bruh?
I mean, listen, this is official screenshots from Apple. Okay. I can't make these up. I can't do it on my own. I can't fake those things.
This is feeling a lot like the Blake Lively versus Justin Beltoni game.
I just needed to make sure everyone was held accountable for all their things. Okay. On that note, Mary, you got something? You got anything to say?
No, I don't have any screenshots.
Okay. Because listen, me and Mary have talked about Aysha. I just wanted.
No, we haven't. We don't need to talk about this.
And look who the common denominator is.
I can't help it. Everyone wants to come to me with their stuff. Okay, I can't help that. All right. Listen, I would pull out the screenshots. But they're in a place that's very unfriendly on video for me to get. Let's just say they went a little deeper than I thought they would. Okay, and I might need to go to urgent care afterwards to get it out before I put it. Let's just say that. I'm not gonna go any further. I can't pull out those screenshots.
Aysha, we've decided we're not talking to Jason ever again, right?
Why? I mean, I am the one.
I'm never sending him a single.
It's the podcast. He's gone.
I've had
it's just us.
enough.
Oh, look at this. Look how quiet.
I know. Oh my gosh, the peace. It's amazing.
And another thing. Oh, was I gone?
You'll lose your privileges.
Okay.
Right.
Listen, this is not my fault. I want to hold everyone accountable.
We brought you into this podcast, and we can take you back out.
That's correct. I know. Yes. We can turn this throuple into a couple real fast.
Real fast.
Oh my gosh. But we have so much to discuss from these 2 episodes of television. Make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed. We can get all of our podcasts about Love is Blind season 8. You can see them all the way back to Love is Blind season 2. That's how long we've been covering this show. Also, you can get our podcast for A Perfect Match, where Jason and I cover Married at First Sight season 18. We're nearing the end of it. The reunion is coming this week, or it's starting. It's always a 2-part reunion, but it's been a very, very entertaining season. So come join us over there to listen to that. But if you just subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed, you will not miss a beat. Also subscribe to the RHAP YouTube channel, where you can see our lovely faces. But yeah, this is it for season 8. There will be a season 9. We were told at the end of the reunion that there will be a season 9 in Denver.
And we were told by the extremely popular NFL players, Josh Metellus and Alex Singleton. Josh Metellus from the Minnesota Vikings, who I'm a big football fan.
You
Never
are.
Heard the name before. Never heard the name before. Alex Singleton from the Broncos. Have no idea who he is. It's like,
they said this Love is Blind audience won't know. These are 2 guys we just
I mean,
picked
I
up.
didn't. No clue. I was like, I think I've heard of both of these teams. That's where we're at.
You couldn't get like Justin Jefferson to announce this, like from the departing
Justin Jefferson
Vikings?
cares about Love is Blind?
Okay, but if you can't get a Justin Jefferson level, why even do this NFL thing at all? It felt like they just reached out via Cameo to a random NFL player.
Probably
like,
did.
This for us, and just cropped out the cameo at the cameo watermark at the bottom. Like, it felt so random. It was just like, why did they choose to do it this way with 2 very little known NFL players?
And why football? Like, it's March. What's happening right now? Like, baseball, has that started?
In football, free agency is getting ready to start. The combine just happened. The draft is a little bit away. Like, I don't know why, but we went to the Vikings practice, or the Viking stadium in the for the bachelor party, which we didn't even really talk about last time. Like, again, why are they giving the men these fantastic sports package dream things, and giving the ladies, like, you get to go to the Mall of America when it's closed?
Hear me out. I've been to the Mall of I can't believe we just didn't even talk about that at all. But I went to the Mall of America once. I was in Minneapolis for a work trip, and so I went to Mall of America every day for dinner. And I got to ride the roller coasters. It's a fun place. There's a lot to do. I was surprised the ladies were able to have it all to themselves. That was a pretty penny, I bet. It's a huge mall.
I'm just saying, compared
it's
to
probably after hours, right? And it didn't look like they were shopping. So my guess is a lot of the stores were closed. And they just
but the amusement part was open.
Just like, hey guys, you get to go to the official Minnesota Vikings stadium and have fun on the football field. Ladies, you get to go to an amusement park after hours. Congratulations.
I mean, I know which of those 2 I want to do.
Oh yes, you two. Very specifically, yes. I'm just saying in general. Like,
very specifically, like, we're just weird.
I mean,
the problem is, like, sports things are really, really big. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of sports things I would be very interested in. But I think on average, a lot of people would like, I was like, okay, a Minnesota Viking, okay. Like, it'd be cool to go, but I would also be like, I just ride a roller coaster in a wig.
I would just like something that is commensurate, right? Like, what would be the commensurate thing for guys with football and ladies with blank? You ladies help me out. Like, what would be the equivalent?
Oh, well, I like football.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, some people like football. I feel like the thing is, you would take, so it's a famous thing, and then you're going and getting like a private tour of that location. So I don't know if there was something where it's like, this is the filming location for a TV show, and you get to meet some of the actors. Maybe that. I'm not really sure.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it doesn't feel even.
A football facility or the islands of Fiji. That's where I want.
Yeah, let's go to Fiji.
It's like, oh, I've been to both. Oh, look at that.
That's not what I'm saying. You asked for a comparison.
I've been on Survivor. I've been on the islands of Fiji. We get it, Asia. You were on Survivor.
You always try to turn me into something I'm not.
You said it, not me. But yeah, I just always think it's unfair because like last season they went to the basketball game and got like to be on the court and have fun and stuff, and then the ladies went to dinner.
Oh, was it the Chicago Bulls?
No, it was the Washington Wizards, I think.
Oh, because they were in DC.
It's weird because sports doesn't usually have like a really good direct comparison to something else. Yeah. And like a lot of that's why I was thinking like people watch sports in the same way that people watch TV shows or movies to a lot of extent. So I was trying to think maybe like a concert, if they went to like a concert and could meet like the
like get into a Taylor Swift concert. Let him meet Taylor backstage.
Yeah, like okay, here's the comparison. We can go to NRG Stadium, which is where the Houston Texans play, right? Mm-hmm. For the bachelorette party, for the bachelor party, have the Texans there. Who cares about, right? I wouldn't care. Uh-huh. I would care if we were in Dallas and you had the Cowboys there. Mm-hmm. I would like to see that. But if we're here at NRG in Houston, have Beyonce there, then I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't know if Netflix can afford Beyonce.
Well, that's the problem. Is a lot
Beyonce
of like
Bowl.
Yeah,
the type of and the thing is, like this is their town, right? So like they all most likely all of these guys are into the Vikings. But like it would be hard for me to think of like a band or a singer from who's from Virginia? Dave Matthews Band? No, I'm sorry, I got nothing.
But I think a good comparison is sports and like music. I think that would be a good way to make
exactly.
Them
okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking. Who was it we had here? Alex Warren.
Oh boy. I was like, what is this guy? Who is this guy?
It sounded a little different when I was listening to it on 2x speed.
Yeah. It did. And what's kind of wild to me is Alex Warren. I said, man, this guy looks familiar. And upon research, found that he was on the Hype House show that was on Netflix that I did watch, which was an influencer house where
I forgot about that.
All these different influencers who live in the Hype House. That's when a lot of these different TikTokers were in these different houses. And he was on there. I remember he had a girlfriend and it was just like he loved doing prank videos and stuff, but looks like he's like now has a new passion with music and has made it on the Love is Blind reunion.
I mean, well, listen, we all got to start somewhere, right?
Do you think this is his start? I think it seemed like people knew this song, not them, but like
the song felt familiar.
I feel like media.
I feel like I've heard it in like a store or something. Like I feel like I heard it before.
Yeah, it had a very familiar sound. Mm-hmm. But let's kick it off with these couples. So we ended the last episode on Sarah's decision. And so Jason, you did not think she was going to say no.
Well, I believe I was up in the air. Right, I was like, she could say no, but I don't feel like she's going to say no. I feel like we were led to believe that she might ignore her brain and be like, I'm going to say yes. But I am very glad she said no. I'm very happy for her now.
Yeah. So we get her saying no and him saying, okay, that's fine, but let's keep dating. And she's like, we'll see.
She's like, ooh, man, we'll see. I don't know. We'll talk about it later. Right. You're embarrassing me right now. Let's not bring this up in front of everyone, okay? Like, ooh, ouch.
I don't know if I mentioned this last time. No, I didn't because I pieced out before the Sarah and Ben conversation. Does it weird anyone else out just a little bit that like Ben is always smiling? Like in this picture we have of him.
That's what
when he's broken up. When when someone is saying something mean about him, he's just, okay, I hear what you're saying. Why are you smiling the whole time?
And that's why he doesn't seem genuine at all. It's like, I feel like we finally got like actual genuine reactions from Ben finally at the reunion at some of the things that Sarah was saying, where he was like having like a physical reaction. But outside of that, he wants to present as what he's showing us.
He really wants that nice guy persona to shine through, and that he's got no problems. He's very nice guy. I swear to God, I'm not a mean bone in my body.
Yeah.
It does give very ingenuine.
Yeah. And I thought something interesting with their wedding was we saw Lauren and Molly there, which I thought they were just going to be like, oh, we saw them in the background, but no, they actually talked to Ben after the wedding. And it was very much so like, okay, Sarah made this decision because what she said was like, we're not on the same wavelength and I need a partner that's on the same wavelength. And then everyone kind of consoling Ben. Yeah. I needed to know for all of these weddings, because they were all at the same venue, why were the bridal and groom suites so far from the actual venue where the ceremony took place to where they needed to get in the car to drive, and then they were in separate locations because clearly they were in separate spots.
Yeah, it seemed like a compound situation, and you'd have like these houses over here, these houses over here. They're going to use their bride and groom suites, and then we'll all drive over to the main place to get married.
It felt so just like.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't really tell where any of these locations were. I've definitely been to weddings where like the place you get ready is different from where the ceremony is, and then you go back to the place where you got ready and that's where the reception is. But usually then that's because you're getting married in a church. So unless this was like a church type building, but it didn't look like it.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I love Sarah's departure where she leaves the altar where I don't know if this was, I don't know how it's structured, but it seems like every season it's like, okay, if someone says no, this season the woman's gonna leave first. And the other season's like, all right, this season the man's gonna leave first. But when Sarah's like pretty much running to the exit, she's like, I'm fine, see me in the back, I'm okay, I'm good, I'm great. And then we get into the car and then she just seems like very like shell shocked. She was very numb, almost like, just do what I think I just did. It really did seem like she was questioning right up until the last moment. And I was just like, all right, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. All right, no. And then when she gets in the car, she's like, did I just say no? Like, should I have said yes? Like, and then for her in a confession, like, yeah, we just could not get on the same page with things like religion, politics. And then she says vaccines. I'm like, oh, that was a new wrinkle. I was like, okay, interesting. And for Sarah, especially for Sarah, who is in the healthcare field, that I'm sure was another big sticking point for them, which for some reason we didn't get on camera.
Yeah. It seemed like it was not only that they had different thoughts on the things, but it was like that she found that he didn't have a strong stance on anything or even was curious to know about different things. Like she'd ask him questions.
Yeah, it seemed like them and Devin and Virginia were very much on the same like trajectory, same wavelength.
Yeah. I mean, and with both of these couples, it is frustrating because it's very much one of these things where the show is showing us that there is an issue. And all the audience is like, wait, but the issue. But then the two, I was going to say the characters, the couple is like, yeah, but we still love each other and look at all these fun dates. And you're like, I guess they're going to make it work despite the issue. And then the weddings come along. It's like, no, the issue is back. I'm like, yeah, we knew that the whole time. Why did you try to trick us?
Man, that's my big problem with these type of seasons where we don't see much on camera, but then at the last minute they're like, yeah, I had this problem. Like, why didn't we see any of that play out on TV?
That's what I was when I was telling you. I was like, you're gonna be mad.
Yeah,
so you're gonna be like, we didn't see any of this to like make us believe that this is an option.
Yeah, to run at the last minute and be like, actually, there were so many problems. You guys just didn't see it. I'm like, well, that's a failure in storytelling in the season to me. Whether it was the show chose to leave it out or the couple decided not to talk about it on camera. Either way, like, I don't feel like I got the whole story for me to be like, yes. I mean, a part of the fun of this is predicting what's going to happen with these couples every week. And I feel like I wasn't getting told the whole story.
Yeah. I mean, and she does admit that, like, it's because one of her family members was like, was it the time frame? And she's like, no, it wasn't time frame at all. It's like, we just weren't a good fit, which I'm like, yeah, that's what we all saw too as a viewer. And so, yeah, Ben just seems down about it. It wasn't that, I mean, and he even told his friends, like, I feel like if we don't know by now, then it's not going to work.
Yeah. And there was this moment with his friends where he's like, okay, now we're going to pray over you. And they touch him and they do a prayer on him. And I'm just like, I don't see Sarah doing that with anyone of her ilk. It just seems like they are so far apart lifestyle wise. Like, it seems like Sarah would like roll her eyes if someone was like, all right, now we're going to pray together. She'd be like, I don't want you to touch me and pray on me. It just sounded like they were so far apart in that dynamic that would not have worked out.
Yeah. So anything else about the wedding? We can jump to the reunion.
Yeah, I mean, when they are like, when we like see them at the last things, Sarah's like, I don't know if we're gonna date. Like I can't see it in the moment, but we'll see, I guess. And then we find out in the reunion what happens.
Yeah, she did leave it open-ended. Well, she kind of left it as like, that's not even something I want to think about right now. Whereas clearly that was on Ben's mind because he immediately brought it up when she said, like, I can't. And I thought it was funny that Ben tried to start the reunion by, I'm going to control the narrative and let you all know that I have privilege. Therefore, you think that I have grown.
Someone visited a PR firm and got talking points.
Right. It took me going on this show to understand the privilege that I have and always have had, and I'm very thankful for Sarah. I mean, I'm thankful to Sarah for allowing me to see that. And I bet he just wanted it to end there and thought, like, okay, that should cover it all. Right? Like there should be no questions for me because I'm going to point you to my prior statement.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't pull that from his armpit. Like, I want to read a prepared statement.
Right.
I know I have privilege.
Yeah. And then he had the audacity to say, like, even with my church, I didn't know their stance on the LGBTQ plus community because I didn't need to know because I didn't have anyone in my life that would have affected. I'm sorry, Ben. Point back to your friends who said she had a girlfriend. So
hired actor, like
one
we
of
said,
your close friends. You
hired
forgot about
actor.
her?
I think it just also goes to show like the lack of empathy for others, which I think is what Sarah's main issue was. Like, I know it doesn't affect you directly, but do you have the capacity to feel for others in their situations? And I think with that statement, Ben shows he still doesn't. Like,
right.
I didn't pay attention because it didn't affect me. It has nothing to do with me, so I didn't listen. Is basically what he's saying. It's just like, okay, that's not great, bro.
It's like you don't have to personally know somebody that meets a certain criteria in order to show empathy towards them. Like, you don't have to know that, like, oh, in this city there is a huge issue with the homeless population, so we're going to do X, Y, and Z to help this homeless population. And the only way for you to feel empathy is if you specifically know a homeless person. Like, that's not, or an unhoused person. That is just not it. The fact that Sarah would have that mindset just shows just how on such different pages they are. But we did find out, basically, they ended it by trying to stay together for a couple of weeks. She had to go back to Nashville for her nursing job. And so the plan was for him to come back with her to Nashville. And immediately, once she was supposed to go first, and then he was going to fly to her. Well, when she gets to Nashville, he turned off his Find My Friends and then sent her 3 apology texts that she didn't respond to. And now he's trying to say, well, that's on her for not responding.
Now, I was confused about she seemed to be really hung up on, like, oh, the text seemed really scripted. That's the one thing where I was confused about, like, what is she saying? Like, that they just felt like canned, like something that he would send to anyone he's breaking. You know how, like, you might have like for those of you who go on a lot of like dating app dates, it's like you've got kind of like a message that you send out that's like, oh, it was nice meeting you, but I'm looking for something else. And it's like the same thing every time, no matter who it is.
I felt like that. It felt like the issue was that because she said later on, like, you used all the words I used on you. Like, all of the words he said, he was regurgitating them back to her in his apology. Like, as if someone's like, oh, you hurt me. And he's like, I'm sorry, I hurt you. But it's just like, okay, you listened to the words that I said, but do you understand what that means?
My boy went to ChatGPT is like, how, like, break up letter.
She said this.
Fiance after she says this, and this. Go. And he's like, okay, copy paste, send that out, all good. But this was dirty work. This was foul. Like, he's like, yeah, you go on ahead, I'll be right behind you. Like, I will
absolutely
can't wait to live with you, can't wait to
see you
to be together every day. Oh, I can't wait to see you in the scrubs. She closes the door. He's like, all right, and turn off location, delete all messages, block her on my phone. Like, that's craziness. Because I mean, the way we got into this was talking about the TikTok girl and the TikTok stuff they had talked about, and Sarah's like, I can definitely see what that TikTok girl was talking about based on what happened after the wedding. It's like, wow, yeah, that's kind of that's really bad. That's really foul.
Yeah, exactly. And I even think that the fact that he tried to say, like, oh, it was miscommunication because I thought we were done. Like, when you left, I thought it was an official break off. And I thought that meant, like, basically, he's saying he assumed they were done, so they needed to cut it off. Where she's like, but we talked about you coming, so I'm expecting you to come. So it was like, unless you said, I never want to see you a day again in my life, like,
Right.
what was this defining conversation that made him think that they'd broken up and maybe her just think it was an argument?
Like, when you texted me that day, see ya in a week,
Yeah.
I was very confused.
Yeah.
Like, when you kept texting me on my way to Nashville, I was just like, why should I care? We broke up. I was so confused. Ben is just, he's trying to salvage any reputation he has left, and it's not working very well.
At all. Oh my gosh. And so, yeah, so that was funny because he's still trying to smile through it all. But when I think it really hit him when she was like, now I get why how that TikTok girl, like that message could be. And he just was like, he kind of rolled his eyes. Because he had even told her, like, he was crying at home. He was heartbroken over their breakup, but he was out with his friends.
He's on Instagram, like, partying with the boys, like smiling and having fun. And while he's like,
I thought I blocked all your pages.
What do you think about the fact that Ben had some counsel from a former Maths cast, not Maths, sorry, wrong show, a former Love Is Blind cast member on how he should navigate this reunion thing?
I think these things are like, it's like, on the one hand, like, yeah, if I was on a show and then I would tell someone else, like, hey, just so you know, this is the kind of thing you need to do. It's the fact that Ben reached out to Sarah and said, hey, so-and-so told me we should basically pretend to be on a good page together and practice some questions. It's like, yeah, I could see why you'd want to say that, but no, this is my time to air all our dirty laundry.
Which makes sense for why Jimmy and Chelsea were so agreeable at the reunion last time. We're like, oh, there was really they were very amicable. And it's like, okay, if this is Jimmy's mindset, then he had that mindset then. Like, make sure we come in on the same page so there's no drama, basically.
I mean, but this rarely works out, I feel like, because we've had people fall into this trap several times where it's like, oh yeah, well, the only time you talked to me was when you wanted to rehearse reunion questions. I think it's probably best you don't reach out and say that, especially if you were the one doing the heartbreaking.
Yeah, especially if y'all don't have ongoing communication. It's not like y'all became friends. Y'all aren't Meg and Mason. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm not looking to plot and scheme with you about the reunion, especially if you're the one that did all the dirty work. Especially if I have nothing to explain, I'm not looking to work with you on how you can look better. Like, that's not what I'm into.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny how he tried not to say Jimmy's name too. And he's like, well, you might see him on the top 5 countdown,
or you might have already seen him, because that was like right after we got the Jimmy clip in the top 5 moments, and it's like, and they're trying to get it out from it, and they're like, Sarah, she's like, it was Jimmy. Like, okay,
yeah,
just gave up the ghost there.
Like, I'm not playing this game. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean, it was very clear that they weren't a good match. And so I think it's kind of funny that, we were kind of led to believe in the last batch that it could possibly be. And Sarah just basically saw just like, she said, like, I don't actually know him.
And it just seemed like,
everything was so surface level.
Yeah, it seemed like for a lot of these couples that if they had asked the questions they should have asked in the pods, we never even would have gotten them coming out of the pods. But it feels like they were willing to just not get that deep in the pods and be like, well, we'll see what happens after the pods. And then realize after the pods, like, oh yeah, we never should have even got together in the pods.
Exactly. So that's a wrap for Ben and Sarah. Let's move on to another couple who this was interesting too, this is a very similar situation where the guy is trying to put on a brave face, present a certain version of himself, where the woman's like, cut the crap. Virginia and Devin. So this was very interesting because even on a rewatch, I was like, where are the signs Virginia is saying no?
I caught the signs through the first watch because she she was very subdued. It almost felt like she was bummed at this, that she was going through this. She was like very quiet, which, you know, Virginia's not like someone that is too boisterous in the first place.
Right. That's why I was kind of like on the fence.
Yeah, but even this is like, she had like a worried look on her face. Like most of the time she was getting ready. People were trying to talk to her. She's like, yep. As if she's like in her mind, she's like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So I could kind of see it. But again, I coming into the wedding, I was just like, this is a yes, right? Because we've seen no hint that she's gonna say no. We've seen no outward expressions of doubt from her. So for me, I'm just like, I feel like this is a no-brainer. Like we had Devin and Virginia were like our second to last couple. And I was like, okay, so they're saving the two yeses for the very end, right? Like, of course. And then we get there, I'm like, oh, like that was actually a very shocking moment where she said, I don't. And I was like, okay, interesting. Because yes, she seemed a little sullen in the whole lead up to the wedding. I was like, maybe she's just nervous. I don't know. Maybe that's what's getting to her. But then when she said no, I was like, oh, damn, no, that was actually her being like, and with all the stuff coming at her in the preparations, like when her mom and her friends are so happy for her, Devin's people come in and they're so happy, like to go into this knowing you're going to say no. It has to be very like nerve-wracking for you,
right? Because yes, I will say that this was like, the couples are similar in their core like reasons why they didn't work out, but I will say that Virginia and Sarah were different in that I feel like Virginia was a no from that morning. Like it wasn't like she was debating like Sarah up until the point of giving her answer. Because it was a drastic difference in the sides. Like he's like, I hit the jackpot. Like we don't really have arguments. We just had a couple of tough conversations, but we learned how to talk through them. And like, you don't have to agree on everything in a marriage. Is Devin's standpoint.
It's not all peaches and roses, like as he said. But I think Devin's just someone that I think he's 29, but he has a very kind of, immature mindset. I think when he says you don't have to agree on everything, it's like, but
the things you do disagree on matter.
Yes,
you're not disagreeing on, do you like peanut butter or almond butter?
Right.
You're disagreeing on like rights.
And especially when it's like, these are not only big impactful things, but it's things that if one person cares strongly about, the other person also, like it's not like two people who are like, I could go either way, whatever. No. It was like, she's got a stance, and if you've got an opposite stance, it's not going to work. It's the same thing with like the Ben and Sarah stuff. Although he seemed a lot more, I think Ben came across a little more apathetic.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia, like both Virginia and Sarah have like a worldview of how they see the world. Devin and Ben have a very like narrow view of things. Like, does it affect me directly? No, then I don't care. Like, does it, like Devin says, well, we don't agree on everything. What he means is like, we don't agree on things that don't affect us. So what does it matter? Like it doesn't it doesn't have anything to do with us. So why do we have to agree? Which is like, it's about the way they see the world and how they feel about others, basically.
I did see, okay, should I bring this up now or later? Maybe now. Okay. So we do see it becomes this like, how much can I fool my family with everyone that said no? Because it just felt like everyone's family and friends were on a different page, even with like Virginia's mom jaw dropping, like when she said, I love you so much, but I'm just not ready. Which it was like, that wasn't even it for you, Virginia. You love you so much, but y'all aren't a match, is why you said no. Right.
The shocks in the crowd for Virginia and Devin were like epic for me. Like the literal, like her dad be like, what? Like I was living for that. I was so fun. It's like, oh my god, this man is crushed by this, because he had no idea this was coming. And like I said, to see how Virginia's people were were really like pepping her up in the way, like, girl, you're about to get married. Like, we love Devin so much. He's so good for you. Like, oh my god, look at all the ladybugs. Like, no, this place has a bug infestation. This isn't good luck. This is like, you need to call an exterminator. But it was like they were so happy for her, and so I don't think anyone had any idea that this was coming except for Virginia, and that was really wild to me.
Yes. It's so I don't know if you two have seen Virginia's best friend that was there, what she posted on Instagram.
I haven't seen it. What she posted?
No, I have not seen that.
Okay. So she said she said she rewatched the clip. She's really trying to find the tears because we see after Virginia gives her decision, Devin's like he's displaying that he's heartbroken about it, and he starts crying. There were no tears at this moment. I double checked. There weren't tears until he got in the car with his mom. But as her best friend was like, okay, the tear, like, I didn't see any tears. Like, she's basically saying he was faking it. Then she posted another story saying, like, she was like, this was my face knowing that my friend was about to marry. Basically, she used a word that was like, was the equivalent of a Trump supporter.
Ooh.
And she was like, and me just hoping that she was like gonna dodge a bullet.
Wow.
And she was like, I got time today. And there was like hashtag free Virginia. It was like, there's even with the reunion being like, we know these weddings now were like a year and some change ago. There is like, they are not on good terms.
She had that one in the drafts folder for a while.
She had to, yeah.
But it's like, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go and question how much he was actually distraught in the moment. I feel like he definitely was like blindsided and was upset. I feel like that was real. But
which it's just like, yes, I'm not questioning how distraught he was, whatever. Everybody expresses that differently. But I think for him to be so shocked is another reason why they shouldn't have worked, because it's like you had no idea how important that stuff was to her. For you to think, oh, just because I brush it aside, that means she should too.
And it seemed like from what Virginia was saying that he was not even on camera, but even off camera, shutting down conversations of like, what are your thoughts and opinions on this? And he was just like, would refuse to talk about it. So for him to have this mindset of like, oh yeah, we're good. Like we cut up, we have fun, not realizing when he's shutting down these conversations, these are big deals to her. Like he doesn't think it matters, but it does matter a lot to her. And whether or not that is poor communication on both of their parts, I think that has something to do with it, because I think if Virginia had been more vocal about the fact that, no, these are big deals to me, stop shutting me down. Like if you keep shutting me down, then we're not going to have a relationship. So I don't know how vocal each other were and how they really felt about things. And so I think maybe for Devin, because she didn't push more than she did, he felt like, what was the big deal? I didn't even know it was that big of a deal. And knowing how Virginia was so cagey in the pods, it wouldn't surprise me if she didn't push more than maybe she should have in the moment. It's still Devin's fault for shutting down these conversations when he shouldn't have. But
yeah,
I feel like he was blindsided because he didn't know that these were big deals, which he should have.
She said she was trying to protect him too, because of what you said. Like he explicitly said there were some topics that he did not want to discuss. So in the end, she felt like she let him down and she let his family down. And she said, and we didn't even get to our sexual relationship.
Which apparently a lot of people didn't. I was like, what? Yeah. Wait, how do we not know this? I was like, Daniel and Taylor didn't have sex. Virginia and Devin didn't have sex.
No, I think Monica and Joey were the only ones that it seemed like I was pretty sure that they said they did when they were at the retreat, but then everything really slowed down a lot when they got back home.
Yeah, and they said Monica had said they hung out on the retreat. So I don't know what that means, but
we still don't know.
Yeah, it seems like they had some sexual contact, and I don't know about Ben and Sarah, but to hear about Daniel and Taylor and Virginia and Devin not doing it, I was like, that's kind of surprising to me, because I just would have assumed that they had gotten to that point.
Yeah, especially because it wasn't ever a topic of conversation. Like it never was like this is something that that they found as an issue in their relationship, that it was like non-existent. We never got like anything about like their physical intimacy, like even with like kissing or just holding hands. Like, yeah, they kiss sometimes, but was it enough for either one of them?
Yeah,
with the physical touch. But
I love Virginia's mom, but I feel like not even knowing that Virginia and I'm sorry, Virginia's mom and dad were divorced. For some reason, the nicest people are always like, I would never want to see them mad, because I feel like seeing Virginia's mom mad would have been something crazy. Like, I don't know what the divorce was like with her and her dad. It was interesting vibes seeing Virginia's mom interact with her dad and her dad's wife. Like, oh hey Evelyn. Like, I think there was a time back in the day, like Virginia's mom was like setting his stuff on fire or something. It just seems like even the nicest people will probably get so crazy when there's a breakup involved. But yeah, it was. And also we heard Paul, her dad, talk about the fact that he had met Devin. I was like, why didn't we see that on camera? I would have enjoyed seeing that, because he really seemed taken with Devin. Like, after she said no, he like went up and hugged Devin. He's like, I'm so sorry. I know you're a good
great
man.
guy. Yeah.
Like, okay.
The other thing that kind of threw me off, because when you have this, you usually don't think that it will be a no. Virginia's aunt officiated the wedding.
Yeah.
If my aunt is a pastor, if I involved her knowing I was going to say no, she'd be like, I am not doing that. like don't involve me if this isn't like the true time that is about to happen.
Yeah, so I'd really love to know, like, when the official, like, I'm definitely saying no, came into her mind. Because was it after they had made all these arrangements? Because as she will say on the reunion, a lot of stuff happened the weekend before the wedding.
Yeah,
which could have been after everything was already
everything's
arranged,
planned.
Yeah, so I would love to know when the official her official decision was reached.
I love the niece, who she had just a very bold mic on her, because we heard everything she was saying. But what's happening?
I love that. The what's happening at the end. Oh my gosh, I died. It's so good.
His dad had to say, she said no.
Yeah, she broke his heart. She
doesn't like him.
She's dead to us now.
Don't look at her, please.
And like the Devin's mom, who I kind of felt for a moment, where she she comes in, she gives Virginia all the hugs, and then but after she says no, his mom is like, his mom wanted to speak to a manager. Hardcore. She's like, I need to speak to someone about this. I need to make a formal complaint with the Love Is Blind complaint staff, because she was like, I thought she said she was ready, but she says she's not.
Like, girl, why'd you say that? That wasn't it.
It's like, no, she doesn't. She just doesn't want your son. She's ready, right, just not with your son.
Yeah, the whole like, and that's why she shouldn't have said like, I'm not ready, because I mean, it is the nice thing. It's the thing of like, I don't want to say something mean about you right here in front of your family and friends and stuff, but like, let me just say this, and this is as someone who says this. 99% of the time, if someone puts a breakup type thing on themselves, like, I'm just not ready, I'm not at that point yet. Something has come up in my life. Here's a thing. They don't mean it. That's not true. They actually, there's something about you that is not
there's
jiving,
a with
that they
you
don't
that's
like.
In parentheses.
Right. I'm really ready to get married, says Virginia. Just not with you, because of everything about you, actually, is the thing. But I'm not going to say that, because I'm a nice girl.
It's like, you are the problem. Like, she just want to like put all that out there on Front Street to his family.
And I'm not saying that people should tell the truth. Like, that's harsh. Like, you don't need to tell the truth. This is an area where it's just not gonna benefit. It's not gonna benefit Devin or anyone else to hear that. Like, that's a private conversation you could have if someone is like, because here's the other thing. I've had people be like, oh, well, but like, you can tell me, is there anything like that I should do differently? And then you could just be, and then if you give them an answer, oh, well, you didn't really open up at all. Well, maybe you should have made me open up. It's like, they're always going to turn it back around. They don't want to hear. No one wants to hear what the reason is. So just don't tell them.
It's tough taking the high road during breakups, but I've always done that in the past, because I'm just like, it's not worth my, like, at the point that I'm breaking up, I'm done.
If I've already decided, it's like,
I'm not wasting any energy on trying to make you a better person at this point. Which I feel like is the point. The Virginia,
it's just like, let them rot. That's the nice person's problem.
Exactly. And so the other thing we find out from Virginia, one last thing we find out, is another reason she said no, is she kind of can't trust him. She found out that he received a check for their wedding present, and he never said anything about it.
So it's the two things, right? It's the check, and then it's the note. Or is that someone else? Hold on.
Well, no,
She brings up
no,
a
it's
note in the
she
reunion.
said the note in the reunion, but
Oh, okay, that was the reunion part. Okay,
yeah.
sorry, we hadn't got there. So yeah, the check thing, which he says, I was gonna tell her.
Sure. He saw a check, was like, ooh, daddy about to get some new pairs of shoes.
Literally
1.5
no,
pairs
once
of
we're
shoes
together,
with that $1,000
together.
Yeah. Like that was a treat for you if you said yes. I was going to share this money with you. It's basically kind of what he said.
He's like, oh, was this signed to Devin and
Right.
Virginia? Because according to my prenup, that's now money that is both of ours.
Yeah, if you say, if I
So
come
we both have
in
to take
with
it
this
back.
money, that's
Yeah.
mine.
It's
What a-
mine. So if
what a-
I don't tell her until after we get married, this was my money.
Right.
Will the bank only put this in my account, or does she have to sign it on the back too?
Can I erase
At least
Anne
from a
Virginia?
conversation I overheard at the bank recently, if it's addressed to two people, you might. Oh wait, no, or was it that you just need one of the people? Now I don't remember.
It's like,
how does that work?
if I cash this check on the app, will they notice it's to someone else too?
Yeah.
Like, can I get away with that?
I don't know how that works.
He's like, where is my whiteout? I swear, I used to have such a great need for whiteout pens. But what happened? I don't even own one now.
Everything's digital now. That's a problem. Boy, I really needed those new Jordans, and this is going to be perfect for that.
Right. Yeah, so that was weird. I mean, it wasn't even a matter of like, okay, oh, I'm trying to surprise you. It was just weird not to say anything, especially the fact that she knew about it. And she's like, well, I'm gonna just see if he tells me. And then he didn't. But basically, she just decided to put herself first by ending this marriage, which I'm glad. Yeah.
I think she made the right decision.
So at the reunion, she said, like, they weren't in alignment on core things. Of course, Nick and Vanessa, who, might I say, did a great job this reunion. I felt like they were right on following up on questions when they needed to. They kept it quick. They kept it short. Vanessa wasn't giving all these extra opinions about stuff. We didn't get a lot of comparisons to their relationship.
Yep.
I'd say they did a good job.
I thought as a whole, this reunion was so much better than past years, like past like 2 or 3 years reunions. Everything was structured. All the nonsense was kept to the end of the show instead of being like
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, interspersed throughout the couples. I thought it moved very well. Everything was segmented. I was like, this is actually this is the way you're supposed to do this type of reunion. Like keep it nice and clean. Until the very end, where you could have turned it off about 5 or 7 minutes to the end.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was done very well. But I love Virginia be like, listen, I'm not going to tell you Devin's issues.
Right.
But I'll tell you where I stand on the issues.
Yes.
Like, I support the LGBTQ plus community.
And you're like, okay, well, there's only one other option on the other side of that one.
I think women should have rights to their own bodies. I'm not saying what Devin's opinion is.
Right.
I'm
But
just saying,
I believe.
And how it's different than what Devin's
let's just say we had some disagreements, and these are what the disagreements were about. Not saying his platform. I'm telling you, I was like, okay.
She said, I think different religions should be valued just like different languages. That's what I believe. You can assume what you want about Devin, but me personally, it was like,
we get it.
Thank you for clearing that up, Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah, so funny.
Yeah.
And again, that's where he goes like, well, I mean, we could disagree on stuff and still be a couple. Like, I mean, yes, but not like on the important things, man. Like, I don't know what.
No, and that is the crux of what we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. Like it typically is the difference is compassion, like I guess empathy for others over prioritizing self, right?
Yeah.
And in this situation, Devin sees it as, okay, if it doesn't affect us, like we can disagree on whatever happens in the world, but that's not going to affect us being together. Where Virginia's worldview is, if we disagree on the way we see the world, we can't be together. And he can't see that matters to her, because he's like, even the way he phrases it, he's like, I can love someone no matter, and it doesn't matter how I feel about a thing. Okay, well then you're not being honest about how you feel. Like you can't say, oh, I love you regardless of I hate that you do this, or I dislike this or whatever.
And it's really short-sighted in thinking of like, okay, what values and morals are we going to teach to our children? because I think when it gets to that point, we're going to have different worldviews, and how are we going to pass those down to our kids? Because that's going to be a place of conflict for us when we're trying to teach our children values. So I think it's very short-sighted of him to be like, well, it doesn't matter, right? Like, no, actually it does, in the terms of not just conversations you have about the world, which it seems like Devin wouldn't want to have conversations about what's going on in the world. He just wants to keep things to his little bubble. Whereas, like, I know with me and my wife, we talk about issues of the world and how we feel about those things on an everyday basis, especially now. And so it just seems like they're coming at this from two very different viewpoints, which means they should never have left the pods in the first place if they had been open and upfront.
Yeah. I literally know.
Imagine people being open and upfront in the pods.
Right.
Yeah, imagine doing what they're supposed to do in the pods. That's what that's supposed to be for.
I know someone who is conservative and changes on dating profiles, marks themselves as moderate because they get more swipes from liberal women, because they're like, oh, like if I'm conservative, like I'm not going to get as many, but if I'm moderate, she's gonna. I'm like, but then think long term,
right?
Like
that's what I never understand. You know,
like, I mean, it's just like, she's like, well, like if I put moderate, then she's more willing. Okay, cool. But when y'all start talking about core values,
well, and that's how some of the people on this show acted towards like expressing their views on camera. Like, I'm going to say that I am just in the middle. I don't have a viewpoint, so that no one criticizes me for my viewpoint. It's like, that's what that sounds like. I'm just going to say I don't have an opinion, although I do have an opinion, and it's not the popular opinion amongst people that may watch the show. Let's just say that. I don't know. It just felt like that was their standpoint on. I'm just going to not say my actual views.
Right. And it's so annoying with people like Ben and Devin who think like, oh, well, I like, to me, we can have these differences and I can still love you. I can still be with you, which is trying to tear down the woman who cares, like who has things like, I don't care if the value is when you come in my house, you take off your shoes. If I press that home, like that is what I care about. Like that's what matters to me. Take off your shoes and you come in your house. And every single time you come on, you're tramping in your shoes. You're doing it every single time. This isn't even speaking for real world experience. I don't care in my house. But if that,
you should really, really care if you take off your shoes or not.
Right. But if that is the example, right? And then over time, you continue to do it, then it's like, okay, now you don't care about what matters to me. Like you don't value what I see as important. Whereas obviously this is way more impactful because it's like their views on, like you said, Jason, how they're going to deliver those messages to their children. Are they just going to say, oh, you can decide if you believe what mom believes or you can believe what dad believes?
That never goes well, by the way. Because you can say that all you want before you have kids, but when you get down to brass tacks, you're like, actually, I think, like I said that, but I think you should actually go with what I believe. So don't tell mommy, but you should believe what I believe. And you're going to get that from both sides. So it's going to be very messy at that point.
We also found out about some note from an ex-girlfriend, which actually is somebody that is now one of Devin's really good friends. Her boyfriend or partner or husband was in Devin's wedding party. Well, my question is, so she wrote a note and left it on Devin's nightstand and just said like happy for him and Virginia. My question is, how did Virginia know that this was an ex-girlfriend if Devin doesn't see her as that?
I think, did she say the mom told her or something?
It was hard because she was like, I ran into his mom and she told me about the check. Yeah. So that seemed like she was talking about that part.
Because Vanessa asked her, like, when you met her, did you know that she was one of Devin's ex? She says, no, not at the time. But I do think she said the mom told her or something.
That's what I thought. But then I heard it again. It just goes into the check situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But she figured it out some type of way. And I don't, like, Devin's, of course, like, oh, I don't see her as an ex. I mean, but she is an ex. Like, I think that's very important to know. Like, I don't care what you think you see her as now. She is actually an ex. And for this ex to write you a note is like, why is she writing you notes?
It's just deeply personal.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just very, very odd and weird. And for Devin not to be upfront about it in the moment, it really kind of, that combined with the check stuff really kind of freaked Virginia out in that way. It was setting off her like spidey sense of like, this doesn't feel or seem right.
Yeah. And the other issue she had outside of the check, the other issue was she got him this elaborate gift. She spent hundreds of dollars on it. She made it so specific to him, his favorite colors, everything. And then when she asked him to help her bring it up, like upstairs, he was like, "Oh, like you could have got that." Like after he came and helped her, it was just like that seems like so. I bet you, Devin, hearing that, he's like, "That's so small and insignificant." No. There's background, there's context.
It's just so unchivalrous, right? Like that's going to continue into years and years and decades of your marriage where you're trying to bring in groceries and he's like, "No, I'm playing the game. I can't pause the game, bro. You bring in the groceries yourself." It's like that's just a view of into how things are going to go in the future for Virginia. She's like, "I don't want no man that's not gonna help you with my bags." Like,
right? Yeah, exactly. Because this is actually for him. Like this is something I put effort. Like you would think, especially in this situation, he would want to help. But imagine I went on a big shopping trip for myself, and then I need his help. He would be like,
right?
You got two hands.
Let me try and tell my wife I'm not bringing in the bags from when she went grocery shopping. I would be divorced within a week. Like that would not fly at all.
Right? It's just like, yeah, they're just so disconnected. He needs somebody who isn't as like has it all together like Virginia. Like Virginia is a very confident woman. She knows what she's looking for. And Devin is still in this figuring it out place in life, which you wouldn't think he would be because they're like similar, like they are close in age, but it's just where he is at this time in life.
Yeah, he seems very coddled. He seems a little immature, a little sheltered. So he has some growing up to do for sure. I mean, but there's someone out there that's as not grown up as him that they can figure it out together.
Yeah.
But that is not Virginia. Virginia is a woman with a capital W. She's a boss babe. Like she's not for no foolishness out of this like kid, basically, is how she looks at Devin. He's kind of a kid.
Yeah. Where he's like, I hit the jackpot. Absolutely you did. Because she's way out of your league.
Way.
Yeah.
And listen, that's Love is Blind, right? Love is Blind, where average men come to get women out of their league. Like that's what this show is. Let's be real.
You would think if you recognize that, then you would say, wow, this woman's out of my league. So I best be working to keep her.
Yeah,
Because
let
she
me up
can
my
leave.
game. Yeah, let me up my game to get to her level. But he was just like, nah, I'm good at my level. She's good at her level. Doesn't affect either of us. We're fine. No, it's affecting Virginia because she sees how above you in leagues she is.
Yeah. And he's like, I haven't said one bad. I still think very highly of you. Of course you do. You weren't the one with the issue. I have the issue. What are you trying to say? Like, yeah. I mean, we find out he doesn't like. She tried communicating with him after he ghosted her. He's like, I didn't ghost you. And then the girls corner of the couches, Molly and Madison are like, you did tell us she ghosted you. He said, well, that's when y'all came up to me and y'all were drunk. And come on. Yeah. What are we doing here?
Yeah. At that point, it was getting into like petty, we don't care territory.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a point in a lot of these conversations where I was like, okay, who cares? This is a lot of back and forth. He said, she said, and like, you're never gonna, unless you got receipts, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So before
Madison said receipts, I got receipts. She gets from another part of her dress. Like, I got these about Devin and Virginia.
She's like, actually, I put these under Molly's armpit.
I ran out of space.
Right. Before we move on to the next couple, so similarly to how they showed us the top five moments that apparently people voted on Tudum.com, which, come on, there are so many other moments. So we're going to highlight 5 other different moments that we thought should have been in the running on this list. The first one that I thought of was Diamond and Carlton from season 1. When they broke up, he threw the ring. He talked about her wig slipping. She said, what did she say? She quoted Beyonce. Like it was just the wildest breakup.
It was so ratchet and so funny because I mean, listen, this is season 1. Yeah, we're not used to this type of thing. It's like, oh my god.
And I think everyone was like, wow, that escalated quickly. What happened? Yeah.
Like, wait, they are mad at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was definitely up there.
That was a fun
the craziness of like his reaction to to her, because I mean, this was after he told her that he was bisexual or he is bisexual, and she didn't have the best response, but she also didn't like freak out, and he
She
did
was
not
like trying to digest it.
Yeah, he did not like that she was immediately supportive, so he was pretty mad, pretty upset.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next couple. Let us. Oh, we didn't even talk about. Wait, did we talk? We didn't. Okay. I went out of completely different order than we originally
I'm
discussed.
sure me and Mary just like, well, she's not going on the
I know. I was waiting. Aysha came up with the order, and then she's just been doing whatever she wants.
She went rogue. She went rogue,
y'all. I rechecked our note about the order we were doing 4 times, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what we're doing, but all right.
Listen, as much as a surprise to the listeners or watchers about who's going to come up, it's a surprise for me and Mary too.
Yeah.
Like,
we thought we had a plan. We thought we had a plan. Nope. She just starts with Sarah and Ben, and I'm like, Sarah and Ben were the 3rd on our list. But okay, sure, do whatever you want, I guess. Like, are we doing reverse order, starting from the middle? What are we doing?
Who is she gonna bring up next? Let's see.
It threw me off, the fact that
it threw you off. It threw us off.
The episodes started with Ben and Sarah, and so I just like completely just started freestyling. Yeah. But let's go back to who we wanted to start with. The only couple that actually said yes at the altar. There was no question.
No, but you know what? We had to have at least one couple say yes. Otherwise, it's another busted season. So, and you know what? We can all admit, like, we thought that at least 2, if not maybe 3 of these couples were going to say yes. Yeah. So, whoops. Nope. Just Daniel and Taylor getting to sit together happily as a couple, and everyone else at the reunion is separated onto the opposite sides.
Love is Blind is gonna Love is Blind. Love is Blind, like, we cannot mess up the average of 1 couple per year by giving you 3 couples. What do you think we are? Like, what show do you think you're watching? But yeah, Daniel and Taylor were the no-brainer of the season. They were the golden couple from except for that one blip with the Instagram gate
that they can joke about now, apparently.
Yeah, they can really terribly joke about, because when they introduced them and Taylor's like, and this guy, he's been following me everywhere, and I told him to unfollow me, and then he followed me again. Everybody's like,
Vanessa's like, do you have an app for that?
so funny. That was so good.
Like, we still don't know who you thought he was that followed you and unfollowed you.
Yeah, but other than that, they were the season's no-brainer golden couple who were so boring. It was just like not even worth spending a lot of time on.
I still don't know anything about her.
I disagree that they were boring, though. I thought that they were. I think it's interesting to have a couple that is so in lockstep. Like, boring would be like, oh yeah, they seem nice and we, whatever. But like,
that's what I felt about them.
I thought there was not a whole lot we needed to see with them, and we saw exactly the amount of them that we needed to see. But
we haven't really gotten, like, we didn't get anything interesting about them, really, except for like Daniel has a blind sister who, like, yeah, it's cool that she was at the wedding and she was singing and performing, but there wasn't really anything that stuck out for me about either of them except for the Christmas.
No, they were cute. They loved Christmas, and you know what? And that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they are fine. Like, I don't hate them. I don't not like them. I think they're a cute couple. But
I think you need a couple like this. If you don't have this on the season, then it's all, again, if you don't have anyone say yes, then what are we doing? What is the purpose of the show?
No, absolutely. They are our proof of concept couple. And as you said, we need those. But you can be interesting as well. I think like a Garrett and Taylor.
What could they have done to make them more interesting?
I don't know. Have some other drama. Have some other.
What if they don't have drama? You want them to manufacture drama?
That's fine. They don't need to manufacture drama. I'm just saying, from what I got, they were not interesting. They were just kind of there. They got along. They were in love. Great. For those that love, for those that come to this show for love, you got what you wanted. You got what you needed. And yes, we do need this couple because they are proof of concept. But someone like a Garrett and Taylor, for instance, from last season, had some interesting items to come up. Like he didn't want to move away, and there was like he said he was going to move away, then he said he wasn't going to move away, and then he had this whole communication with his ex and thing about that. Garrett and Taylor were a golden couple, but they were a golden couple that had some issues and like a couple of minor stumbling blocks. These two had almost no stumbling blocks whatsoever. So it was kind of just like,
well, I think the thing was just that initial drama. Like we got it up top. We got the drama up top with the did he follow her? Did he not follow her? And that was like, it was shocking information. And then that was it. And then there was smooth sailing from there.
But it lasted.
So y'all got enough for the season.
It lasted approximately 5 minutes, right? It was at the very tail end of drop 1 and at the very beginning of drop 2 of like, okay, we've checked and there was actually no drama. So it's like, okay, we had approximately 5 minutes of drama from this thing.
I liked them, and I gotta say, you mentioned it briefly. Daniel's sister playing piano and singing, I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, was so beautiful.
It was
so beautiful.
It was great.
The fact that there was not a dry eye in the room.
There was not a dry eye in the Kwiatkowski household watching that.
Aww.
On 2x speed, but it was beautiful still.
We also find out in this that they have not gotten physical. They have not done the deed. I was like, oh, that's pretty surprising. I guess I would have assumed, but they're apparently going to wait.
Well, yeah, because at this point now, Operation Consummation is in effect.
Yeah, he's like, I think we're going to consummate the marriage after this. Like, she's like, we're definitely going to consummate the marriage. It's like, okay, cool.
Okay, great. Why is that so uncomfortable every time? I'm like, oh, I don't. All right, okay, I don't need to know.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was very cute.
Yeah, the wedding was very nice. They didn't even try to throw us off the scent. No. He got a letter from her talking about getting ready to become the next Mrs. Hastings. I was like, okay, well,
she had a robe that had Mrs. Hastings on it, and someone on TikTok pointed out she was the only one that had a robe, that everyone else just had like bride. She had a Miss Hastings on the back.
Yeah, I think that they probably had a conversation before this and like, yeah, 100%. We're saying yes, right? Okay, great.
Because I would not. If I was on the show, I would not leave that last day without getting some sort of like, so you're going to say yes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it feels like the biggest thing is future planning. Like, we see this on Married at First Sight a lot. Like, the couples that are just talking about decision day, it's very likely, like, on the seasons that they do actually last till decision day, it's very likely that might be where they're in. But if you're talking about where you're living after this, what's, the plans, where you're going to, then it's likely.
Yeah, but that last day before we separate, I'm gonna need an answer because I'm not going into this not knowing. I'm like, yeah, the Love is Blind concept's all cute and everything. You get your decision alter, that's cool, but I'm gonna need to know now so I can plan on what I'm gonna be doing on this wedding day.
That's even like with Devin and Virginia. His mom was like, "Oh, I hope she said," like before he walked down the aisle, she's like, "I hope she says yes." He's like laughing, like, huh, "Yeah, why would she not?"
Yeah, I was like, she could get cold feet, but I mean, probably not, right? Like,
what are the odds of that?
If only you knew it was coming, Becky.
Right.
And then, at the reunion, they're still married. Cute. Thoughts on the tattoo?
It's better than a tattoo we just saw this week on Married at First Sight, I will say. But
totally.
It's kind of big.
It's very big.
It is kind of big. It's her eyes. Mm-hmm. But it's also like sort of a rectangular box around that whole section of her face.
Well, it's like a screenshot that was cropped. And like, here is the part I want you to tattoo on my body. And I would have appreciated like an artistic rendering of the eyes. But not
just
like
eyes. Yeah,
no, it's like photorealistic.
It felt like it took it right from the photo and just put it right on his body. I like that's weird. It's a weird big block of black with like you can barely kind of make out her eyes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see if he has a picture up of him with the tattoo.
It was big and it was very dark and I didn't love it.
Yeah, I always try to be sensitive with tattoos. Like, they're mostly permanent, so if you like it, good for you.
He loves it.
Yeah,
so
good for him.
We also find out that like his mom is now cancer free, but when she was like in the hospital and stuff, his dad stayed with her brother because he lived like close to the hospital. Which I was just like, they have fully blended these families since early days. Like,
Yeah,
they're one happy family.
they've really meshed, and you can really
Yes.
feel. You really felt that when the parents got together, like, okay, we can all see them. Like, their families are kind of very similar.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like conflict. If I was to guess, I would imagine that their political and value and moral beliefs all perfectly align.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the one couple we got out of the season that everything worked perfectly for them, and they would not be together if not for Love Is Blind. So
Yeah.
it's proof that the concept can work.
Yeah. All right. They're very easy. Let's talk about our next a top 5 moment.
For me, it's got to be Giannina running out of their their wedding not reception but wedding ceremony, and just her basically fleeing the scene. And
Yeah.
didn't she like trip or something on like this on the
She like
greenery
slipped on the
outside?
mud.
Yeah, slipped on the mud,
And then
she
she's
was
like
just
ran away, jumped a fence. I feel like there was she's like on the side of the road at one point. Yeah.
we're definitely over embellishing what it was. Like
And then her mom chased. I don't think we are over embellishing. I'm pretty sure it was a chase
she
scene
like
from
stole a
movie.
car, and she like she hijacked a whatever. But yeah, that was unhinged. I mean, again, first season vibes. It's just like, wow. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever seen anything like this, and honestly, we haven't seen anything like that since.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen some wild exits, but this was probably one of the wildest exits of a wedding ceremony we've seen.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about our next couple. We got Joey and Monica. Who she has a friend named Phoebe.
No.
Yeah.
Fake news.
One of her friends, I disagree. One of her friends who was at the wedding dress shopping, her name was Phoebe, and so someone on TikTok pointed out and was like, "You're kidding me, right?" And then Monica commented and was like, "Yeah, it blows my mind too."
Well, Phoebe was the one that was the friend that was at the wedding that was just like supportive while the sister was still crapping on their relationship. It's like, why can't Phoebe be her sister?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to wait. One more thing about Devin and Virginia. His sister in the background, like after Virginia said no, his sister's like, "What's with these girls?
He doesn't deserve this." Like,
common denominator.
What's with the girls?
Yes. Place blame anywhere but your sweet little brother.
I mean, it makes sense because it feels like that is the family vibe of like, there's nothing wrong with us. Like, we are not the problem. It's everyone else that's the problem. Like, okay, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Like,
okay. All right. I think I'm done commenting on them.
You're done talking about a couple from 2 couples ago we talked about.
Exactly. Okay. So Monica and Joey, this was a couple that I think a lot of people thought that this would be an easy yes for both of them.
I feel very hoodwinked at the end of this.
Yeah, I had a friend who fast forwarded through them because they were like, "Oh, easy yes," and then we're like, "Wait, what happened with Monica?" But yeah, Monica ends up saying no, and then Joey's basically kind of like, "Okay, cool," because I'm not 100% either.
Cool vibes. And she comes into this saying, if he says yes, I'm all in. I'm down for it. But the producers heard that and was like, all right, we definitely gotta make Monica go first.
Right.
Because just to throw off her game, because throughout the getting ready portion of the wedding, you're getting the vibe of like, okay, this isn't as solid as I thought it was going to be, because she's having these thoughts of like, well, he's not very he's not very touchy-feely, he's not very physical with me, and that's an issue because I'm a very touchy-feely person. I'm like, oh, okay, like I don't recall really ever hearing about this issue much. Like I feel like they may have mentioned it once or twice in passing, but it seems like it's a big deal to her. And he's talking about the fact that, I know that we got her sister's blessing, but we didn't get her support. I was like, really? Like, I feel like I don't feel like I may have missed something, but felt like you got her blessing and maybe support. I'm not sure, but he seemed very unsure about the sister, and that was his basis for what his no was going to be.
Which is interesting too, which I'm glad they kind of called him out on it during the reunion. It was like, because he said his issue was the sister. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't meet the sister until y'all got back. Like there was no progression even during the little getaway in terms of just like slowly but surely, like, okay, y'all are a couple. It just feels like they never got past the friend zone in his eyes. But he's blaming her sister.
We should have known this was not going to go well when the both sides of the wedding party, the color schemes and the vibe for the dress was just not adding up, because his side, all his groomsmen and everything had like these baby blue tuxes with Hawaiian shirts on, and her side was all getting ready like they were dressing for like a prom or formal or something. I was like, the vibes aren't matching, so we should have known this wasn't going to go well.
Yeah, I didn't super see this one coming, only because they really just didn't show us much, and they made us think like the sister thing had been resolved for the most part. Also, this season I think is the first time in a while where, well, probably not, I don't like that every single time on these weddings the person who spoke first made the decision. Like, you want the one person says yes and then this second person says no. That's the drama. And every time.
No, Devin said yes, and Virginia said no.
Oh, did he?
Oh, yeah. He did say yes.
Okay,
and never mind. Ben said yes. Yeah, Ben said yes.
In my mind, I was just like, oh, all the girls spoke first, and they all said no. No, I guess.
Well,
not.
I mean, and Monica said no.
Scratch everything I just said. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and Monica said no. It sounded like Joey was going to say no, and it sounded
I know.
like,
I kind of wish we got his decision though. Like,
you wanted him to say no first.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to see if he would have.
I definitely think he would have, and I think I think right up until the moment, I think when Joey was talking about like right before they said their decision, he was like, "I'm so glad I got to do this journey with you. I'm so glad I got to do this experiment with you." It sounded like it was like, this is a wrap up of this journey we've gone through.
Did you peep her face? She kind of was like,
yeah. So to me, in that moment, she was like, "Oh, he's gonna say no. So let me beat him to the punch and say no, because I don't want to get embarrassed. I don't want to say yes and he say no." So that it really felt like she used his preamble to help make her decision of like, is he going to profess his love for me in this preamble? Is he going to talk really like openly and positively about a relationship? And it sounded like, hey, this is the last day we're going to see each other. It was great to be in this with you. So she's like, oh, I'm getting his vibes. He's going to say no. So let me go ahead and say no as well. That's what I felt.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, it's just not a good sign if you're having to base your decision on what he's going to say.
How about that?
She's just looking for his validation, which if you haven't gotten it to this point, you're not going to get this final validation at the altar that he's all in about you.
Totally. And that hating ass sister was back on her hating. She's like, well, you just don't read people great. You remember high school?
I swear, I was like, if somebody were like, oh yeah, remember in high school you did this? So you're saying that's how 32-year-old me is gonna handle situations as well? Like, come on.
No.
Like, girl.
I'd be like, okay, I'm older now. Actually,
yeah, I would be like,
it's been a long time ago.
Can you grow up?
Yeah,
and
15 years ago.
Just the sister's like attitude and how she was holding herself during this whole like lead up to the wedding was like, this should have been me. I should be the one in the wedding dress, not you. That's just how it felt. That was the vibe I was getting from the sister.
Yes, that was wild. But we did hear from, well, so we got this decision right. And we saw he wasn't stressed at all. He was a 5 on the stress meter.
He was coming in on a longboard. It's like I don't know what he thinks he was doing with that. It seemed like he just thought he was so cool. Like, hey guys, look, I have a longboard. I'm gonna come in on every listen. I'm so upset that I do this podcast on a carpet. I definitely wanted to come into this podcast rolling around the camera.
In on the longboard.
Yeah, for sure. So bummer on that. But I think he just thinks he's like too cool for school, because he's like, look at me, I'm like Bart Simpson, I'm rolling in on a skateboard, I'm so cool. And just the way he was so nonchalant with his dudes, and the way he was just like, I don't know, him and his dudes are very, very close, obviously, and it was weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah. But she does, she tells him she loves him. And apparently that's the first time she has said it. And he's like, I didn't know she felt that way, because that's the first time she's ever said it.
And when she said it to him, and he was just like, great. Like, thank you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that's not great.
Yeah. So yeah, he needs some time to process. He's not sure if he wants to pursue something with her after this. But then we get the reunion. And he does further explain, okay, the reason was her sister. And I personally needed to hear from Joey's sister Adriana, because the amount of faces and the amount of cut tos they did to her was wild. Like, she had faces for any time that Monica said anything bad about Joey. Then stuff with Joey, she was agreeing or disagreeing. I was like, where does she stand?
Oh, I felt like she stood with Joey firmly. Like, every time Monica would say something against Joey, they would cut to Adriana. She'd be like,
but even when Joey admitted to his mistake, she'd be like,
no, because it's like that's my brother being accountable. Yeah, he's such a great guy. He's admitting he's wrong, even though he wasn't that wrong. Because Monica is a harlot or something, or whatever she would say. Like, it just felt like she was like, "Yeah, Joey, like, you're so great. You're such a great man. You're this and that." And then when Monica was saying things, she's like, "Nope, she's lying. She's wrong. No." And so I kind of appreciated the fact that they didn't like get too deep in the weeds of like, we're gonna now pull up Monica's mother, we're gonna pull up Devin's mother. I liked how they just shot to the reactions in the audience, because I felt like if we went too deep into like, let's talk to all the family members, it would have been too much. But I did like the facial reactions of the families in there, and that kind of said so much to me about how they were feeling about this.
Yeah. I thought it was also interesting that we found out that after all the couples and the pod squad got together, that Joey slid into Madison's DMs saying, "Hey, really good to see you. Love the pink hair."
It felt like he was setting something up for after this all ended. That's what it felt like to me. Like, he was just like, let me get my pre-shot in there before I actually shoot my feelers. Shot. Yeah, let me see how she's feeling about a friendship to start before I actually shoot my shot after I don't get married to Monica.
Because it was unnecessary. Like, I get being a nice guy, a single nice guy. Yeah, but why are you like if you're reaching out to someone, especially in this context, especially y'all dated in the pods, like, that's just unnecessarily, even if it was totally innocent, it's just unnecessary to do. But because would you have just totally blatantly told Monica?
Right. If it's totally innocent, this is how you do it. You have two options. Option one, you make a group chat with you and Monica and Madison and probably some other people. And you're like, hey, it was really nice meeting y'all. We should all stay in touch. That's option one. Option two, you're sitting there talking to Monica. Hey, Monica, do you mind if I reach out to so-and-so people and say it was cool meeting them? Because if you would feel uncomfortable asking Monica if you can do that, then you probably shouldn't do it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a bad look, because reaching out to any woman in this stage of what you're doing here, I think is just not, even if it was as innocent as it was, not a good look at all. Like, to be clandestinely, even if you want to like just put Monica, Madison, and you in a group chat and be like, hey Monica, we had such a great time with you the other night as a couple. Like, I don't know, that would have been something. But yeah, it was not great.
Yeah. So then we get into this whole twisted thing, which is what we were doing in the in the intro, with just like Monica was told by Joey that Madison tried to come on to Joey at a bar. Madison thinks that's absurd because she's like, she would never. And then it was just kind of like this whole he said, she said of, why is Madison even a name that Joey and Monica are talking about? And they're both like, exactly, why? And Monica's like, because you told me that she came on to you. And Joey's like, no, you told me you were concerned about her. When it's like, what is this circular reference we're caught in?
Yeah, it was a mess. At a certain point, it's like, okay, can we drop it now? Because no one's going to tell, like, I mean, not knowing Joey is not going to tell the truth here and be like, yeah, I mean, I may have misread the situation, or I was trying to make Monica feel a certain way. I don't know. It was like, okay, well, no one's going to actually, we're not going to get anywhere. So let's just end it.
So weird. But yeah, that was pretty much all we got for Joey and Monica.
Yep.
We didn't get any like real attempt at them like trying after, right?
Well, they said they were like they were hanging out together a week after the thing. She would go to family functions. They would hang out together. I'm just like, but why? Like, if it was a no at the wedding, like, why are you even still bothering if he's not going to give you what you want? It felt like it was a definitive ending at the wedding of being like, yeah, like we're just friends, right? Like we're cool. But yeah, and that's when he gets into the Madison territory of like, that's when Madison and he were like talking and whatever. But yeah, it felt like they still tried for a second, and then it was just like, no, let's just end it.
Yeah,
which is good. It really gave a new kind of light into Joey, which is not a very favorable one.
Yeah. All right. So, Mary, which Love is Blind moment do you want to highlight?
Oh my gosh. Well, there were several, but I think I'm going to have to go with the surprise twist that actually, unlike this season, where maybe some people knew each other, no, Lydia and Uche 100% knew each other and dated. And that reveal in the pods and all the fallout drama that happened literally for the rest of the season after that was so great. Loved it.
Yeah. I mean, it was the reason that we still were like, Lydia and Milton are still together.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and just like everything that surrounded that in terms of like when Lydia was trying to befriend
yes, I will never forget Lydia going up and being like, oh
Aaliyah?
yeah, I dated him, and just so you know, he's a great guy. Hear these things. Yeah, wild.
Well, even before that, when
she was like, girl, he's your guy. I know it.
Yeah, it was a mind-blowing revelation at the time of being like, oh my god, like this is Lydia's big plan. Like, as much as we were talking about how Daniel was a stalker, was almost as much as we were talking about how Lydia, like how insidious Lydia was by coming here and making sure she tried to match with Uche or whatever. That in and of itself was, and the reveal of how like we got the flashbacks to them revealing each other. It was a fantastic moment. A much better moment than some of the moments they actually highlighted in this season, which was extremely 2 seasons ago based of like Chelsea, Jimmy, Jessica, like took up 3 of the 5 moments, I think.
Yeah.
2 or 5 or whatever.
Yeah. Which is kind of wild to me too, with how much talk we got about how small Minneapolis is. I'm surprised we didn't get any exes that were in the pods. You know?
True. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Like, oh, I've gone on one date with this person, or oh, like I know this person because whatever. Okay, so let's talk about. We've talked about all the couples that actually had a wedding. So we also checked in on a 4th couple who ended things before the wedding. Let's go ahead and talk about Lauren and David.
Look, I'm just upset that we never got to see his sister, who may or may not exist.
Yeah,
she wasn't
even there. She said, "I want nothing to do with this."
Yeah, it just really felt like she probably thinks this is beneath her. Like because of the reaction she had to Dave going on the show, she probably thinks like, I'm not getting involved with this foolishness. I gotta say though, like I feel like this is kind of how you do it if you're in the Dave spot. You come in, you take your lumps, you don't really push back too hard, you admit fault, and you don't try and wriggle your way out of it. Because I think we've seen other people in this spot that are trying to fight back against the allegations of terribleness and don't do very well. I think a Trevor comes to mind from a couple seasons ago. But I feel like Dave came in here and kind of did it right. He kind of like, he took his lashings and said he was sorry and kind of left it at that.
Yeah, he got his lessons he got his reunion coaching from maybe like I feel like Ramsey's didn't get it that bad at the reunion.
Yeah, Ramsey's came and just decided to shut the F up. He was going to say a word.
He said, either just no matter what, she's right. If you do that, you'll be okay.
Yeah, for sure. And as much as Dave was awful during the season, he came in and kind of like, he said the right things, in my opinion, that he needed to say. But for him to be like, I have learned within the last 2 weeks that this guy was actually not a good guy.
So you spent a year thinking that?
Yeah, you spent almost a year thinking that Lauren was still this like scarlet letter harlot that should not have been doing this process.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I just appreciated Lauren just saying like, yeah, I knew this the whole time. Like, it's great you finally came to this conclusion, but this is literally what I was saying from day one.
Yeah. And her saying like, I realized I just have so much more emotional maturity than you. He's like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
It's like,
And the way that Molly then chimed in was really cool, because I feel like this season would have been so much better if we'd ended up with Molly and Madison in couples, like in within this mix, because it would have been a lot more exciting. It wouldn't have been like Molly would have been off the chain in dealing with Dave's sisters shenanigans. But yeah, like Molly's like, I told you your friends were idiots, and like I still think that, and how she was just kind of like, she called him out for the whole number one thing, which he still didn't. At that point, he just stopped talking. He was just like, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna say anything because I know I'm in the wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very much so like just kind of like letting Lauren kind of get out how she truly felt. Dave does think that she's the one that got away, and she still doesn't believe him, because she's like, you have not shown that in this past years, because he still didn't believe her till a couple weeks ago.
He's like, I realized yesterday that she's the one who got away, actually.
Yeah.
When I finally took my head out of my ass about this whole thing.
And I guess it was all because this guy when the show premiered, he posted himself like as if he was a cast member, and then he posted himself as if he was sitting down for a podcast. So I guess it was finally then that Dave was like, oh, well, wait, he just wants the publicity. But before that, I guess he just realized he didn't have enough evidence. And he tried to excuse his friends by being, they believe the same thing I did. Well, y'all, what are you talking about? Y'all are egging each other on.
Yeah.
And then he even does, which I will give him props for, just in this moment, is recognizing the similarity in Ben and Sarah, and even Daniel and Taylor, that they both dealt with an external factor, but had their partner's back in it. And he realizes he didn't do that.
Yeah, and I liked how they called out the contradictions too, of like, well, you said if your friends and family were really supportive that they would come and do this for you, but now you're saying, well, then you also said that they don't want to meet me, and I don't know what he said about that. He just was kind of like, I don't know. He got stuck in a couple spots, where he couldn't really defend himself very well.
Yeah. So I thought it was funny too that when they asked Molly, they're like, you haven't been in a serious relationship before. What about now? She's like, oh no, I've hated men all year. They're like, wait, you've dated men all year or hated? She's like, no,
I did hear dated at first.
Yeah. I've hated men all year. And then Vanessa was like, well, any girlfriends? And Molly's like, well, that's not something I'd say no to.
Which feels like, it feels like a production led thing of like, they talked to Molly at some point. Molly was like, hey, I'm also bisexual. They're like, oh, really? Like,
right, because how would Vanessa know to be bold enough to ask that?
Yeah, Vanessa, ask her about women. Just do it. And I feel like Dave, when he heard that, was probably like, whew, dodge that bully. He probably has the same like, misconceptions as Devin has about like women being bisexual. Like, oh my god, I can't.
Yeah, you see Devin over there like, she should have mentioned that on the pods.
Yeah, glad I didn't get her.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like all right, well, moving on from Lauren and Dave. It was a thing. Good thing they didn't work out. She knows her worth now. So yeah, we cut to, well, actually, before we cut to the last grouping of people, let's see, another moment we can highlight is something I would never do with my sweethearts, Pepper and Cinnamon. Okay. We have the iconic moment of Jessica just letting her dog drink her red wine.
And what is so iconic about this is it's not only an iconic Love is Blind moment. It's the reason perhaps that we have this podcast, because that was one of the clips that Rob saw and he was like, okay, I'm sold on this show.
Yeah, it's just like, is she letting that dog drink wine out of her? Is she like, is she encouraging that dog to drink wine out of her glass? Like, this woman is nuts. Right. And it was definitely a touchstone of that moment, of that time. And honestly, when putting this together, I didn't even realize we have so much season one.
Yeah, we did
here.
Yeah, because it's iconic.
Yeah, it just shows how great the start of this was. It kicked off this whole franchise, this whole like, empire of Love is Blind and all the things that have spiraled out of Love is Blind, like Ultimatum and Perfect Match that have come out of Love is Blind, and the Netflix revelation they could do love shows in this way.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, like the that just kind of like it was in the zeitgeist of pop culture
Yeah.
is how big this was. Like people that even weren't even watching Love is Blind
Mm-hmm.
were talking about this moment.
Yeah. And it the Love is Blind season 1 moment they did highlight was Lauren and Cameron meeting, which my heart.
Which was great,
But
but it's like unforgettable. I'm like, that's I don't know.
But
if it's
no, I think
I feel like
it's
you
funny
could have
though.
done Cameron rapping was more memorable.
Yeah.
That.
Oh god, yeah.
I will say though, it is interesting that they include them because Lauren and Cameron had nothing to do with the show.
Yeah.
And they also did not send in a happy 5 years. There was not
that. No season 1 people.
No season 1 people. So I was like, it is very interesting how separated season 1 is from like they don't act. The show doesn't act like season 1 doesn't exist, but the season 1 couples who have made it acts like Love is
100%.
Blind is far in their past.
Yeah, I would love to know why.
There's
like
a podcast about it. I'll send it to you.
Oh, really? It does seem like Amber and Barnett just don't want to be in the limelight. Like, but it feels like Lauren and Cameron have some sort of grudge. And maybe Asia, this will be in the podcast.
They had a few bones to pick. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fascinating that overall this anniversary talk, we didn't get anything from season 1 couples.
Yeah. All right. The last story we hit were with the square. We find out that Meg and Mason are no longer together. They are just best friends now. They're just in each other's lives, not as lovers, but as best friends, as they said. But then they focus a lot of time on the whole Madison, Alex, Mason of it all. And Meg feels a certain type of way about it too. Whereas like Alex and Mason still don't understand why Madison was so upset about the Mason breakup. Alex is like, you got me, so what are you mad about? And then Mason's like, I'm sorry, I did not recognize your red flags. And you had Madison just trying to defend herself. I still completely understand Madison's point of view, where it's like, I was dating 2 men. And then Mason tries to downplay everything we had just because I decided to choose Alex. And she even states it here, like, I was pushing for honesty out of Mason for Meg, not for myself. Clearly, I'm not the one with him. But I was trying to get him to be honest because it's like we talked about this like during the first drop. But Alex and Mason and Meg do not like that about Madison. So it was that was their whole thing.
Yeah, it feels like Madison's definitely trying to make a meal out of her 5 minutes, out of her 5 minutes of fame on this, like bringing out the screenshots and all this stuff. So I do feel like she definitely has points. And I don't know, Mason was like, I only committed to you because I felt pressured. Madison was like, that's not my fault that you felt pressured. I didn't force you to do anything. And I wasn't the person's side I was on kind of ping-ponged a lot throughout this conversation. I was like, yeah, Mason's got a point. Oh, Madison's got a point too. So it was a very kind of confusing conversation they were having. It was going back and forth.
Yeah, that's kind of where I ended up on it, is that I think they both have a point. I can, and I'm just going to ignore Alex here. I don't think it matters what his points are, because I still just can't trust a word that comes out of his mouth. So who knows, who cares? But when it comes to Madison and Mason, it just feels like if at least from what he's saying is like, I felt like you were trying to say I wasn't showing you enough, whether or not I liked you. So then I committed to you, and then you broke up with me and were mad that I committed to you, is like what it sort of feels like is what his side is. And then her side is like, well, I was just, I agree that you weren't giving me enough, but I didn't want you to. And then I don't like the fact that you committed to me and then wanted to date Meg. I don't know. I just feel like they both it's just like kind of like again, this conversation got to a point where I was just kind of like, it's a bunch of he said, she said. You both have strong opinions on this. It both can be true. You can both be upset by all of these things, I guess. There's not like a winner in any of this. It does, and also, guess what? In the end, it doesn't matter because you don't end up together. So who cares?
Yeah.
What to do with you?
And for Madison, at a certain point, to almost play like the martyr, to be like, I was trying to break it off with Mason for Meg. Like I wanted to do Meg a favor and break it off with Mason, but then he doubled down, decided to commit to me. And then Meg comes into the pods like she has a great date. So I'm flabbergasted. It's like, okay, well, if you actually had better feelings for Alex, you should have just let Mason go at that point instead of kind of half in and half out of being like, well, you feel like you have a better thing with Meg, which made Mason feel like he should give her this validation because he did want to keep dating her. It was a very confusing kind of maze of feelings and things being said and things being taken the wrong way. It's like you said, Mary, at a certain point, it's like, can we just move on? Because this really doesn't even matter to anything. And when we get to the Madison Alex of it all and like how Alex was dogging Mason and Meg and how she pulls out the screenshots like, I have it all right here and see the skull emojis. I'm just like, oh, okay, like you're doing a little too much now. Like this is the point where
it's like well, and also y'all haven't been, besides the group meetup, y'all haven't been in the episodes since episode 6. None of you are together anymore. Mason and Meg are great friends. That's awesome. That's sweet. None of you are together. Why are we spending so much time on the reunion even talking about them?
Do you feel like there was any other Alex content they cut because they was like they're like,
I don't.
Alex is in trouble. Let's give him like 1 or 2 things and then cut the rest out.
I get that everything is still like alleged. I get that. But it still just feels so weird that there's all this swirl out there about all this and they don't even address any of it at all.
Well, I think
no one does.
I think this was probably shot before all the allegations came out. So there was nothing to really talk about. I don't know if there was other scuttlebutt within the group because they know Alex now and have maybe dug a little into him themselves. But I do think this all was filmed before all the allegations came out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think they would have just like not even had him on the stage. With the allegations that come out, they just would have been like, you cannot come. Like you cannot be here. Because I don't think do you think we would have cried foul if Meg, Mason, Madison, Alex weren't even part of this?
I think it was, for me, I think that the spot for this is what they've done in past seasons, where you have the reunion, you catch up with all the couples, and then you'll bring in Lauren and David, and they come in. They're not there from the beginning. Then they come in, and then you bring in this group, and they come in, they say their piece, and then they leave. It was weird for me that they were there from the beginning.
No, yes. Well, I guess they needed Madison there for Joey and Monica's segment, and then also for Devin's.
I guess. I just felt like them all sitting there the whole time. It was a lot of people on that stage.
It really was.
You had 5 people that didn't go through the whole experiment. 5 people that didn't make it out of the pods. These 4 and Molly on stage the whole time.
Seeing the whole show, we get it. The reason they spent so much time on all of this was because it was some of the most drama from the show. And I don't think that the show needs to only be about the people who get married or who get to that point. I think it makes sense to spend a lot of time in the pods with these people. But like still it could be toned down a little bit, the amount of time they spent on all of it.
Yeah, it feels like Madison, who has something to say about almost every couple, like feels like she is like entrenched in the middle of all this drama and mess. And I don't know what to think about Madison anymore. I don't know.
I don't think she's as messy as people are trying to make her seem. I think she came with receipts because clearly social media has been hard on her. Like we talked about last time, they don't even think she's an artist. Like she's getting a lot of flack from even just the first 6 episodes. So it felt like she came in on the defense, which is why she had the screenshots. But it was like the one point I felt, one of the points I felt like she had was like, okay, she's getting all this backlash for having 2 connections. Mason had 2 connections as well. And it's like no one's talking about that. It's just because he wasn't the one that chose, but just because she was the one that made the decision and still had feelings after it, like she's the one being ridiculed or whatever. It's just like, I don't know. I think it all boils down to, yes, we spent so much time on people that didn't even go through the whole season. And we are getting a lot of stuff that's didn't even make it into, like, we spent so much time on stuff that has happened within the last year that's why it became a he said, she said situation. Yeah. So it's just weird.
Yeah, it was I felt like they had to fill time and fill content.
Yeah.
So let's just have everyone out here and they can all comment on each other's stuff.
Yeah. And I know people are still going to feel how they feel about Madison. And I had one of my friends text me like, you do not feel that way about Madison. I said, yes, I do. Fight me about it.
I think when it comes to Madison, for me, is I'm just kind of like, I don't think that to go back to her in the pods, if she was in on Alex and knew she was in on Alex, and then I don't think she needs to be as upset with Mason over him just liking her. Like,
and I don't think she should have claimed to be trying to figure out with Mason, and then when Mason commits to say, "Oh, okay, well then we can continue," she should have just been like, "No, I told you I have feelings for Alex, and I think we have to cut this off right here."
See, I interpreted that as she wasn't trying to break up with Mason at that point. She was pulling back, and that's when he committed. At that point, she's already pulling back, so then she's on the path to ending things with him. So the argument is like, "Oh, you should have ended things sooner." But like she said, Alex was barely above Mason in terms of, it wasn't this wild margin where it's just like, "Oh, I'm so into Alex," and okay, I just like.
But then I guess the question is, why does she? But it seems like she assumes that she was way above Meg in Mason's eyes.
No, not way above, but he's making it seem, it feels like the way she sees it is that he's making it seem like it was nothing. Like, oh, it was just this casual thing, when it was clearly like, no, you committed to me, so don't try to downplay it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle on Madison because it seems like at one point she basically wants to not be the source of drama. She claims she's not drama, but then she wants to be in the drama, like by, piping up, bringing receipts for all the other couples. So I'm kind of in the middle on Madison at this point.
So that was it for the square. Before we get to the final moments and things that we saw, Jason, why don't you tell me our fifth moment that we wanted to highlight?
So our fifth moment kind of encompasses this couple's kind of end game. It's the SK and Raven timeline drama about when SK's kind of like other life he had, because we get the SK Raven wedding, and Raven, remind me, SK said no with SK and Raven, right? Or did Raven say no?
That's a great question.
What season was it?
The one before last, right? No, I
think it's like season 5. Let me hold on. I'll figure this out. You keep talking, and I'll figure this out.
Yes, 5.
So basically, they get their wedding drama. Whoever says no says no. I want to say it's SK says no. We find out that they are, they're trying to date afterwards, and then after the episode, we get the title card of death, talking about how Raven found some things out about SK and how SK was kind of like living this double life and also had another girl on the side as he was dating Raven. So I think it's not even just a show unforgettable moment. It's an unforgettable moment outside of the show, because after the show is when really, you think the TikTok streets are ablaze now. They were really ablaze back then when finding out all about SK's double life with this other woman that he had been with on the side of Raven.
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to guess right now what season SK and Raven were on.
Yikes.
Well, I know it. Well, I'm like viciously going through my notes, and I know it's not 8, 7, 6, 5.
It's not 4 either.
It's 3.
Season 3.
I can't even find yes, season 3. That's how long ago this was.
That's wild to me.
Yeah.
Who are their castmates on season 3?
Nancy and Bartise.
Nancy Bartise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is Dallas. Yeah.
Dallas.
Like Cole and Zeneb.
Zeneb and Cole.
Yeah.
Alexa and Brennan.
Yeah.
Alexa and Brennan, are they still together? I don't even remember.
Oh, yeah. So their decision was, he said, I do not. And she was planning on saying yes. So she hadn't even answered.
There you go.
But he said, I do not.
See, and that's a misplaced. They should have had her go first then.
We should have planned this out and played a game of like this couple. What season were they on?
I would fail this game so hard.
I would fail real hard.
I would have sworn anything that SK and Raven were on season 5 or 6.
Yeah, well, that's what's wild. We're on season 8, and they just celebrated 5 years. So they just cranked these out.
Yep. Wow.
So the last things we got were we got the the sock bin that Mary, I don't know if you had a lot to say about that, but
yeah, I have like pages of notes on the sock bin. What are they doing? Why are we tossing? And also, it's not like the sock bin was a game. It was just a communal bin of socks. It wasn't like, oh yes, of course, we're all gonna toss our socks in the bin. What? They look like Love is Blind branded socks too.
Yes,
Monica's mom must have been on cloud 9 because she's like, they are doing all these little things about what me and my family do. The sock bin, the fam jam. They love our family.
Right. Exactly. But then out walks AD and Ollie. Ollie from Love is Blind UK, AD from Love is Blind season.
Ooh.
Exactly. Out of
6, 7.
6 feels right.
I have no idea.
6 does feel right. I'm not gonna.
That was a Jimmy and Chelsea season.
AD.
It might be 5 then.
That was a Johnny and Amy season. I feel like it's 6. I want to say it's definitely 6.
8. She was with Clay.
Oh, Clay.
I don't know why it's not coming up, but. Sorry, Clay, where is it? Oh, I don't know why it's not coming up. Anyway, we get an update. So there have been rumors that, they're on season 3 of Perfect Match on Netflix coming out. Hasn't come out yet. Okay, ooh. But there have been rumors that people have been seeing, not rumors, there are pictures of seeing AD and Ollie together on multiple occasions. They're like, oh my gosh, season 6.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh my gosh, I guess people are assuming, maybe they did work out from Perfect Match. Maybe they met on the Perfect Match and then started dating after. No, what they come on here and show us is that not only did they meet on the Perfect Match and they're announcing the Perfect Match season 3 coming in the summer, they get engaged and they show us the proposal. I'm like, why is the show telling us that they end up engaged?
Spoilers. Yeah, it was weird because it accomplished many things at once, right? It was to show us that AD and Ollie are together, like, oh great. I love the acting from Nick after we get the announcement, like, we're gonna be on Perfect Match season 3 as Ollie and AD are on a beach together, and the clip keeps going, and Nick's like, there's more? What's happening? And then we see AD and Ollie getting engaged. You're like, oh my god, like this is crazy. And then we see. And then AD and Ollie come out. I don't know if they're already out at this point. I think I forgot the order of operations. And then AD tells us, oh, guess what? I have a podcast, brand new podcast coming out. What is it called? What's the reality?
Yeah, what's the reality, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know if this is an official Netflix sanctioned podcast or what. I feel like there's a few of those already running around. But like, it accomplished many things at once: the engagement, the Perfect Match promo, and AD's podcast promo, which I was like, wow, we are doing a lot here. Mm-hmm. And Vanessa's going to be like, so does that mean you guys win Perfect Match? And it's like, hey, we can't tell them that. They have to wait and watch this summer. It's like,
and as someone who has watched the past 2 seasons of Perfect Match, podcasted about the first one, Jason, you podcasted about both seasons. Mm-hmm. We don't care who wins the Perfect Match. That's not what the show's about.
And the fact that AD and Ollie are going to be a real couple and be engaged means they probably don't win Perfect Match season 3 because none of the actual couples win Perfect Match. It's all the nonsense couples that get together at the very end are the ones that win Perfect Match.
So weird. And the proposal makes Virginia cry, Vanessa cry. It was sweet. I am happy for AD.
But why are we seeing this on this show?
Because it's the Love is Blind. They all like it was better than
one of these people wasn't even on Love is Blind.
Ollie was
on Love is Blind UK.
Oh.
I thought they said he was on Love Island UK. Never mind.
You watched Love is Blind UK with us, didn't you?
You did. We covered it.
We talked about Ollie.
Okay, see, this is the whole time I'm looking at this Ollie guy and I'm like, he looks so familiar. What do I know him from? Because I literally thought they said, everyone's going to hate me. Look, I literally thought they said Love Island. And I was like, I don't watch Love Island UK. And I'm like, what do I know Ollie from? I'm literally Googling, was Ollie on the challenge? Because I was like, what do I know him from?
Oh, man.
Yes, Love is Blind UK.
Okay, so who was he with on Love is Blind UK?
I can't think of her name, but he didn't end up with her. He ended up with someone else from the pods.
Look, I will say that show I marathoned and we did one episode on. So I did. Didn't we? Or did we not? Did we cover that one?
We did.
Yeah,
I think they're cute. I'm very happy for AD. It seems like Ollie is really into her. I mean, obviously they're engaged. So
I swear I watched this show.
Ollie was with Demi.
Yes, and then he ended up with someone else from the pod.
Demi said no to At the Altar, which I think probably kind of gave Ollie an out because Ollie was going to say no. As I'm looking at this, I'm remembering their season because like me and my wife were talking about it. We were like, who was he with on that season? I was like, I have no idea. I have no recollection of that. I do remember him because everybody was talking about he looks just like Craig David, and I remember that he had 2 matches in the pods.
I liked Demi, right? We liked her, right?
Yeah. They felt more like homies than an actual couple.
This is that's so right. Okay, it is all coming back to this is why he was so familiar. You know what? I take it back. This makes sense of why we saw this on the show.
Yeah,
exactly. So 2 people from Love is Blind are now engaged from another Netflix show.
We're back.
But y'all could have waited a few months and just do this at the Perfect Match reunion, in a few months.
Exactly. They're like, no, we got to promote it. And then so we know Love is Blind Denver is coming. Based on Married at First Sight Denver, y'all don't have your expectations too high. Yeah. Drama may be high, but
Denver people are crazy.
Yes, exactly. And then Alex Warren performed Ordinary. So
don't forget the Love is Blind mobile game, you guys.
No, see, that's what I'm saying. The last 10 minutes was just ads, sock bin, random plugs, musical artist. None of this.
I wish they would have said at a certain point, like, okay, now you guys can turn the show off because we're going to just fill the rest of this with.
Because here's the thing: if they wanted to do a lot more, like this is about like the 5th anniversary, whatever, then show me the top 10 countdown of memorable moments and make them longer. Like I would have been down for that. Like that would have been fine. But
after the last 2 seasons in the reunion, we saw a whole bunch of other Love is Blind cast members from previous seasons talk about updates on their life. You would think they would have saved that for a 5th year anniversary thing, but no, they decided this year to make more sense and not like fill the content with other stuff.
Yeah. Well, that was our reunion and finale. Glad this one's in the books because it was something to get through. It's definitely a season I probably wouldn't have stayed up to date on if we weren't podcasting about. So
I don't quit things easily, so I probably still would have watched.
But this is like just like a lot of the last couple seasons, and I do really enjoy watching the show. But a lot of it's like in one ear, out the other, as has been evidenced by everything I've said in the last 10 minutes on this podcast. Is that like literally 2 seasons from now, I'll be like, I have no idea who any of these people were.
Yeah,
Mark, Mason, Madison.
We're gonna be like, we were like
all those people, Molly. They all started with M. That
Who's
season
Mark?
where everyone. Yeah.
There wasn't even a Mark.
Maybe there was a Mark in the pods.
Anyway.
All right. Make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed, where you can get all of our podcasts here, and on the RHAP YouTube channel. Jason, what are you up to? Where can people find you?
You can find me on the same feed. You probably got this from the Love at First Sight feed. Me and Asia are talking about Married at First Sight, along with our occasional guest co-host, Mari Forth. So come check that out. Over on the We Know Scripted TV side of RHAP's podcast, I'm talking with Sasha Joseph about Daredevil Born Again. That season has just started up. So we talked about the first 2 episodes in one pod. We'll be talking about episode 3 next week. You can also find me on my own podcast, The Good Pod, talking about the show The Good Wife and the spinoff of The Good Wife, Elsbeth, with my co-host, Marissa Garza. I guest starred on the show Crime Scene, that's Crime SEEN, with Mari and Sarah Carradine. Talked about the documentary Burden of Guilt. It was a heavy topic, but we tried to bring some levity to it, and I hope we succeeded. That was a really fun, interesting podcast to listen to, so go check that out. And that's it for me.
Mary, what about you?
All right. For me, you can check out the coverage I'm doing with Chappelle on Rob's podcast about Extracted. Honestly, guys, it's a great show. New show. It's very fun. We've recently done some exit interviews with some of the contestants. So highly recommend. Go check that out. It's Chappelle. So it's fun content.
Y'all can find me at Asia like Asia, AYSHA like ASIA on all social media. And yeah, just talking about Married at First Sight right now. We have about 2 weeks left. 3 weeks left. Reunion 1, Reunion 2, and the Where Are They Now episode. But yeah, you could definitely just follow me on social media and keep up with what I'm doing. And guys, before we get out of here, there's only one way to end this coverage of Love is Blind season 8. Okay.
We all know what time it is.
Yeah, Let's do it.
All right, everybody.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.